Alright, everyone. This is Evan and Atom from DRU Crew. This is episode, I believe, 4 of the DRU Podcast. We got a bit of a better setup, I think. Um, we're recording both video and audio. We were the only two that were able to make it this time, but it'll be lit. So we're doing this over Google Hangouts. We got the setup and all that. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I feel you. Um, I had to go through a moderate amount of trouble to clean this. What word could I use to describe it? Pigsty. Uh, I wanted to set this up before. I had. I guess I can show you. I had this little poster that says "Epic Gamers Wanted," and that was back here, which is it's all right. But I thought this would be a little more cool. I know the. Here, let me show my video real quick. I know the quality of the camera isn't that good because it's on my relatively cheap laptop's webcam, but I didn't want a huge file size anyway. Yeah, it's all good. Yours looks, it's like I can see you fine, but sometimes it's more pixelated than others, but it's all good. It's all like smooth, so yeah, I got this given to me by someone. Apparently that's signed. The person who made it was like in Benghazi, which is pretty cool during when all that went down. Um, so as of late, not a lot's changed. The thing that I enjoy most, hobby-wise, which is lifting, it's also like career-wise what I'm planning on doing. I can't really do that, so I've just been reading up on starting strength, all the literature and all that, and basically when I'm not doing that, I'm outside shooting hoops or mowing or uh, playing video games. That's about it. Yeah, it's about all. Driving is you appreciate it a lot when you don't do it as much, I think. On my last podcast, which was just me ranting in the car, I don't know if anyone listened to that, but that was on a trip to Iowa because it was just me on the way there, and that was really fun. First of all, I like to get out of the state if I can, because I don't like the state, particularly policy-wise. I like the people in my particular area, but that's about it. Um, the reason, the reason like we even moved here was to get closer to our extended family, but we're still like far enough from them that we see them about as much as we did when we lived in other states. Uh, but I mean, I don't know. I just don't like the willingness of the government of the state to just maintain the lockdown, uh, basically in the best interest of Chicago rather than in the best interest of the rest of us. Um, yeah, I still don't go out and like parties and hang out with groups of people. I have been, um, I don't know. I've been with a couple of friends and that's about it. And I'm still reasonable. I don't really like I don't let anyone get in my car and I don't really get in other people's cars. And maybe that's probably even too much um, paranoia than I should be doing. But I'm still feeling like I'm still cautious. I still take my vitamin C and all that, but I don't panic anymore like a lot of the media probably thinks we should. I'm Yeah, it's for me I was just gonna say, um, for me, I'm just always trying to think of like I feel like um, progressively more degenerate and loser like the more time I spend without being productive at something. So I don't have a job currently, which kind of bugs me. I'm trying to look for stuff like that. But in the meantime, I'm trying to read um, the particular book that I'm trying to read. I'm trying to at least do some sort of yard work. And even if I'm just playing games or if I'm just doing stuff, I want to produce some content for YouTube, even if no one's really going to watch it. It makes me feel better having used that time to make something that I can look back on and be a little bit proud of than just doing nothing at all, I think. I, yeah, it's a rough hood down there. Uh, yeah, I'm sure you feel the same way. Like, you probably like to be as productive as you can. I'm sure most people do, besides like degenerates. I haven't. Um, I always procrastinate when it comes to starting shows. I haven't really watched a show since like season two of The Punisher, really, to be honest. Actually, I have watched. I did watch some history documentaries over the summer because once I'd get home after work and then after football practice and then all that, I'd come home. I'd make a bunch of pizza rolls or a pizza or something, and I'd fall asleep watching like The West or The Civil War by Ken Burns. Other than that, I haven't watched any of the new shows. I haven't watched Tiger King. I don't really think I'm gonna do that. I still have I still have not watched Breaking Bad, which if I'm gonna start a show, it's probably gonna be that. Uh, and I've heard it's like the best show ever. I mean, it seems it's like something I want to watch. I never like think that um watching a show is the best use of my time anymore, and maybe I should like. I mean, I bet if I use the amount of time I spend just browsing on social media, then I use that time watching a show, it'd probably be a little bit more useful, just 'cause it's a little bit more entertaining. One show I do want to watch is Waco on Netflix, because I'm interested in that like situation. But other than that, I haven't really watched anything or movies for that matter. Uh, uh, she's just like, you don't know this woman, and she's walking on your up to your house or what? Um, you'd think people of that demographic would be a little more cautious of staying away from people's space and property these days. Yeah, I feel like there's varying levels of concern for sure. I see some people wear their mask in their car, which makes no sense to me. That just doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, more power to them, but like I don't see the point. And then there's other people I see them like at their work. They have to wear masks because it's like their policy now, but they don't even have it above their nose. It's like over their mouth, or they pull it all the way down when they're talking to you. I'm like, what's the point? Literally, what's the point? Yeah. Oh, they're like, oh, I do that. I bring like this sync is a little bit off. I think like a couple seconds, but um, I don't know. I have like hand sanitizer with me in the car. I have like disinfectant spray. I spray like the door handles and everything. And obviously, it's not completely thorough. I feel like if I'm gonna get the virus on me, I'd have to like spray literally everything down, and I don't think that's feasible. Uh, it's just a evaluation of risk. Yeah, yeah. You still there? You kind of cut out. I don't know if you can hear me. You kind of froze there for a second. Well, still froze. We're having technical difficulties here at DRU Vlogs. We'll get right back on it, of course. Okay, that's my connection. My computer does this. It's pretty annoying. Sorry for that. It might just be my Wi-Fi. It hasn't cut out like this in a long time. It used to a lot. Can't connect. Literally? What are you talking about, dude? Connected secured? Okay. Let me try this again. Apologize for the. I probably will cut this whole thing out anyway, so. Video call. Yeah, sorry about that. I thought that was you for a second. You kind of just froze, but then it was my laptop. It does this thing. I don't know if it was my Wi-Fi or my laptop, but a lot of times it just stops, and I have to manually reconnect it, which is pretty gay, if you ask me. We were talking about the virus and how it spreads, as far as we know, I think. Yeah, sorry about that. Um, I don't have much to say. Yeah, I think it's pretty difficult considering all the things we think we know about the virus, how it spreads, and all that. How difficult it would be to eliminate it all and eliminate the risk is almost impossible. Uh, you'd have to disinfect everything. You'd have to just basically just stay home forever, which is great until you realize it's not possible for pretty much anyone. Yeah, and even if you don't have a job, you still gotta go get food. I mean, yeah, and it wouldn't even be worthwhile because if you did all that, it probably would cause more harm than if the virus just went through everyone, considering how low the death rate seems to be. I'm always down for that. I don't know if I've heard those numbers. I know I've heard that, like, even if we accepted all the numbers as the media and as the government claims, which I don't think we should, but if we did, that means the numbers are really low. But there's pretty much every reason to believe that the amount of deaths that there are, uh, I mean, it's not even like a reason to believe, it's absolutely true that the amount of deaths that are recorded are higher than the actual amount of deaths from the coronavirus because they've admitted they've admitted that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, for sure. And that's admitted by like all over. There's that, and then I don't know. This was a while ago. Like I'm not sure if this is still. I mean, I'm not sure how confirmed this is, but I know there's been like tests of antibodies, which basically measures whether you have had it before or not. And the results basically meant that like only 30% of the people that had coronavirus were symptomatic, which means that like roughly 3 times as many people had it as we thought. That means the death rate is like 3 times as low as originally thought. And that coupled with the fact that the deaths are uh, like ballooned up by the fact that like to like who knows what degree they're just completely fabricated. Um, that would mean the amount of people that get the coronavirus and die from the coronavirus is way lower than is even significant. But if that's up to you, I can I can confirm I can confirm a like identical situation in my house because I don't remember who got it first. I know I got really sick, so sick that I didn't want to move. I got it was only for like 2 days, fortunately, but I didn't want to move. It it started up like some sort of like mucus in my throat, like it was a deep cough, and I'd cough it up, and it was like thick, like I don't know if I've ever had pneumonia, but I feel like that's what it would be like. It was like that, and then also it affected my taste, like everyone says the coronavirus does, because when I would eat, it just tasted different. I couldn't taste it as well, and that kind of made me not want to eat for a while. So when I heard that the coronavirus takes away your ability to taste, that really sort of solidified my theory. And then my dad had a similar sickness. He like never gets sick enough that he like calls in for work, but he did that time because it was that bad. I know. I think other people in my family got it, but it was me and him that were affected most. And and then afterwards, I for like I don't know a week or so after the main sort of sickness purged itself for me and I wasn't just like bedridden, I had a really dry cough that I couldn't do anything. It was so persistent. I was at this like testing thing for school. Basically, you go there and like take tests, and there's a bunch of people in there. So I literally was holding in my cough. I was trying so hard. I bet 80% of my mental focus was focusing on not coughing, because no one else was coughing, and it was just me, and it was so obnoxious. I was like, God, like I'm trying to do this test first of all. I was like, I would do so like, and then just I don't know. I probably if I did have coronavirus, I probably infected 4 dozen people there, to be honest. And that was before we knew about the coronavirus. Yeah. I actually remember when I started to realize I was sick, I was going to the gym and I was lifting and I wasn't doing anything that I hadn't done before. It was like, I don't know. It was like squat, probably press and deadlift. And then I remember I would just get so much more gassed than usual. Like usually after a heavy set, I I'm like it's not aerobic. It's not like I sprinted or anything, or like ran a marathon. So I sit down. My blood pressure, my heart rate, and everything's up, but it's nothing I can't handle. But like for this, I was like breathing heavy the whole time. I couldn't like I was mentally sort of like losing focus because of how exhausted I was. And then I was like I like could barely even drive home. And then once I got home, that's when it all like started. Probably that next day. There was probably a sore throat. I don't remember though, but I just know a lot of mucus. I couldn't breathe that well. A bad cough, and then just like shakes. I couldn't taste that well, and I didn't want to move at all. I just wanted to lay in bed and sleep for like 2 days. So I feel like I don't know. I don't. We have a we have a lot of I think we have a lot of reason to believe that it did come earlier, given the fact that pretty much everyone we know has gotten a really bad sickness with the symptoms that they say comes with coronavirus at around the same time, a couple months before the breakout was supposed to happen. And the fact that we know that China knew about the virus way before they let people know. We know it started way before we originally thought it started. We know that they didn't shut down their airports or anything once they figured out that it was through human to human transmission. So I think otherwise, if it's not that, it would be the biggest coincidence like of the decade. Yeah, I feel like it's mostly men that are affected more because at least whatever we felt, because for sure something went through our population that is very similar to the coronavirus. If it's not, it's just a huge coincidence that something else also ran through and gave everyone symptoms that were the same. Maybe some bad flu that was really similar. Uh, but it seems like me and my dad were affected, you and your dad were affected. The guys you know at work were affected. A lot of people we talk to have been affected. Yeah. My dad works at a place that's, I mean, he's an essential worker, so like he works at a place that's busy too, and they get a lot of like traffic. So I imagine, um, it would be, I think it would be weird. Go ahead. Uh, in a way, yeah. Like livestock agriculture. I would not credit some sort of deep state government with doing anything to benefit us without our knowledge. I'd only credit them with them doing things to hurt us. I don't trust them at all. I don't think they do this to boost our immunity. Uh, well, I think maybe the likely thing is the virus got out before anyone knew about it. It spread way faster than people thought, and it spread particularly in our like our parents' communities and your like sort of work environment because those industries get so much travel from all over the country and pretty much all over the world, distributing everything. Uh, which is also why I find it weird. If the virus didn't hit us yet, I find it weird that I'm not affected because he goes to that place every day and he like I mean he does what he can to limit the risk, but I feel like if it's as bad as we say and it's as risky and as infectious as a lot of people think, I feel like there's almost no chance that I wouldn't have been affected by it yet. So, yeah, I think as far as our theory, I think the likely thing, if it is like something like that, I think the virus spread on its own and it affected a lot of people and it ran through already. But then the government and the like powers that be realized that they could use it to increase their power in a way that they never thought they could, and now they're trying to like overplay it as much as they can for as long as they can to keep that up because they don't. I really don't think government, media, or anything like that cares about the well-being of the American people. I think it's well established that they don't give a damn and they're entirely focused on power. And I think any sort of my default position when watching mainstream news or listening to government officials, my default assumption is that they're wrong, and it they would have to prove to me that they're not wrong and that they're not absolutely malicious. Because yeah, that's another thing. It's another thing. Like we can the policies are so inconsistent and illogical. Like you can't go to parks, which are outside, which the virus almost never spreads outside. The quickest the virus dies is exposed to direct sunlight. But you can go into Walmart and pretty much in practice get as close to anyone as you want. I mean, you're supposed to stay 6 feet away, but I haven't really seen anyone practicing that. You're supposed to wear a mask too, but really, what's that going to do if you're in an enclosed space? You can't go to gyms because they're enclosed spaces uh, and all that. You can go to gas stations that are enclosed spaces. You can't. I don't know. I just don't think. I don't think the efforts being taken are being made. They're not being made for the reasons they are saying they're being made. If they are, they're just dumb. But I don't think they are. I certainly think anything the media says is done with the intention to rile up panic, but I'm not going to discount the fact that pandemics like this do come in waves, and it's usually the second wave that's the most powerful. And maybe the one we experienced was the first, and then the one that is being politicized is the second. All I know is as soon as the opportunity arises, I'm going to do my utmost to prepare for anything that's going to come. For the virus, of course, but also, more importantly, I think economically. I'm going to save a lot. I'm going to ideally try and get myself out of this state. I'm going to, I don't know. I've always been into prepping, and I think right now is the best time to, or at least once this dips down. I think once this ends, invest in things that you need like food, guns, ammunition, ways to filter water, uh, all that stuff. But I think you should do that anyway. But I think it'd be a good time after this because you never know when the next time the government's going to pull some shit like this, or the next time it might actually be a legitimate pandemic. Anyway, not really. I can't hear it from you. I couldn't even tell it was raining really. Outside, I have my window open. So. Oh, okay, that's all right. Well, uh, yeah. Uh, I think for smart people, this is a wake-up call to not be as reckless with your spending and your lifestyle, and to just be more efficient with what you do. If that means like doing more things from home than originally by like, I don't know, ordering stuff off Amazon rather than going to Walmart, or it just means not going to restaurants because you can't really anymore, or it just means I don't know, don't go to the movies as much because yeah, there I think there's two um, types of people that are in this affected by this virus. I think the smart people like you, like a lot of just smart people, like I would be. Like I don't have a job unfortunately, but like I'm not spending a bunch of money either. I've been getting some money like from things, but I'm not legitimately employed. But anyway, the amount of people that there's people like us that realize, well, maybe we shouldn't do things that are inefficient, things that are expensive, that we don't have to do, and not be more frugal and be more opportunity minded. And then there's people that are like the rest of them, low IQ, mid IQ people that are spending their entire break watching Netflix rather than developing any kind of skills or looking for any sort of way to be productive. And then once it's over, they're just going to go back to the same way they did. They're not going to make any improvements. They're not going to learn anything from it. All they see this as is as a all they see this as is a interruption. Huh. I just cut out. What's the last thing you heard? Well, basically, there's two types of people: smart ones like you and me. I think we're smart at least. We're gonna learn something from this. We're not gonna spend as much. We're gonna save more in case something like this happens again. And then there's people that only view this situation as an interruption to their uh uh what's that word? Yeah, I'm trying to think of like their gluttonous lifestyle. That's not the right word, but it's like it's something to do with that. Oh shit, my mic fell. Yeah, if if you're opportunity minded, obviously there's a ton of bad things happening with this, but there's so many things that you can benefit from, just and learn from. Learn not to spend recklessly. Learn to save more. Learn to use your time more productively. Learn a bunch of skills that you can use if you're in a situation where you can't go physically a bunch of more places than you used to. And then there's people that just want it to be over with so they can go to the movies and hang out with and do drugs with their friends and have orgies and all that. And I see a bunch of people, to be honest, that are doing that anyway. Uh, the only thing they're missing out on is like, I don't know, going to restaurants to sit down with. That's about it. I've, yeah, I understand the people that are like that because I struggle with that like every morning. I'm getting up like a lot of times I'm just so unmotivated because I don't know what I'm gonna do. Um, that changes if like I have a video to edit or something or to record, or if I have to mow the lawn even, or if I have to if I know what I'm gonna do, it's a lot easier to get up. If I don't know what I'm gonna do, it's a struggle because like I feel the impending doom of wasted potential, but I feel the anxiety of like stressing out to think of what I can do to not waste as much potential as I can. Yeah. Yeah. I bet it is a lot more mentally organized for you because you have the time to get up. Because I bet your sleep schedule isn't all messed up like mine is. I can't keep it consistent for one day because it literally doesn't matter what time I get up. But I mean, I imagine getting up, having a job to do, knowing what you need to do, and then after that, your mind's organized for any other hobbies or any other productive things you're trying to do. You don't have to like sit there and wonder because you're probably thinking about what you're gonna do most of the time you're working anyway. So then you come out and you're like ready to go. I bet that's yeah. I've always been I've always liked order, especially in my schedule. It's just hard to self-impose it. Like if I over the summer I was thriving because I would get up at like 5 to go to work and I'd do that till noon to 2 and then I'd go lift at and do football stuff at like 4:30 and then I'd come home and sometimes I was even still motivated to like mow the lawn. I went to jujitsu a couple times. I did stuff like that and then the amount of energy you have when it's like focused is way more than if you don't know what to do. You don't know where to put your energy, so it feels as if you don't have any energy at all. Yeah. I also think I also think I've been taking more pride in menial tasks. Like when I mow the lawn, it's probably the most beautiful lawn in town. I don't know. I don't know how yours has been looking. I'm sure you do it good, but like I always alternate the patterns. I do like horizontal one way in the front, horizontal the other way. In the back, I alternate between like vertical and horizontal, and it looks beautiful. And I take pictures of it because I just love how it looks so much. And I don't know if I would do that if I had like other more important things to do, but since I don't, I take a lot of pride in that. I take pride in like taking notes on the book I'm reading. I take pride in editing my videos a lot of times. Uh, and that's you need to do that pretty much because if you're gonna do something, why not do it to the best of your ability? Yeah. Uh, yeah. You can be. I try to stoke my creativity whenever I get some creativity. It's not often that I'm creative, so when I get some, I try to make the most of it. Write everything down. Get those ideas in my head. Like for videos, if I have an idea for a video, um, I'll sit there and think about it for a while. Write down the script. Think about the script. I mean, you could argue that my videos that I make aren't very intelligent, but I don't know. It's a lot of that's just limited. A lot. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I need to like for DRU vlogs. So for some of my vlogs, I've noticed that some of them get repetitive, and some of them are boring because I basically did the same thing that day as I did the day before. Which is why I pretty much have not been making as many because they are. I don't want to make videos that aren't gonna be entertaining. I'm not gonna throw something out because I feel like I have to if no one's gonna get a like out of it. Um, that's why all my content from now on is going to be of utmost quality, at least relative to my technological ability, which, to be honest, is a little bit limiting. Trying to run After Effects and Premiere Pro on my, like, I don't know, 7-year-old computer. Um, but I get stuff done. I try to make it good. Yeah. By the way, subscribe to him, Adam21X on Twitch and YouTube. Check him out. He's got some good gameplay. But yeah, but you've been streaming a bit. Yeah. Just stay tuned for what he's got out. Stay tuned for what I've got out, what DRU Gaming is. Maybe he'll DRU Gaming and DRU Vlogs is a collaboration of a handful of different people, including me. I'm the main. I'm like the I operate the account and I edit it and all that, but everyone's like an equal member. Everyone can contribute. So I do what I can. Thank you. That comes from yeah. It's so I mean like I understand not everyone can put as much effort into it as me because it's not even necessarily reasonable how much time I put into YouTube. Uh, if you went back and look at my old channel Slam Bash, to be fair, a lot of the old videos are incredibly cringy, but I'm not taking them down because I made them. But the amount of effort I put into that, it was a lot because uh, I didn't have much else to do. I didn't. Those skills are what I've been developing, video editing and all that. Um, that's my. It's just I like organizing everything and trying to build a brand, even if I haven't had much success growing one. So I understand most people aren't going to put that much effort in, but I do appreciate when people do what they can relative to their abilities and their schedules to contribute uh, to make this channel better and all that. Yeah, me too. Just obviously the event was fun, and then just putting it all together while I'm editing. Um, there's not a lot, uh, a lot more. There's not a lot more useful thing that I could do. I'd rather be editing a video that we made and making it top quality for our YouTube, looking back on fun stuff we did, than I would playing video games or watching Netflix or something. Yeah, I feel the same way. I was inspired as a kid by YouTubers I watched, and as a kid, I wasn't really good or funny, but I put in the effort, and now I get influenced by different types of people now. I don't know if you ever heard of Sam Hyde or Million Dollar Extreme or their show World Peace. I'm so like influenced by them. A lot of times when I have ideas, I feel like I need to not do them because they're so similar to them. Anyway, uh, but yeah, I have the same idea because I've been putting years and years into YouTube, and I never had any sort of, I never blew up. I never had any monetary success, but I still enjoy doing it. So that means it's not about the money for me. I don't. At first, I wanted to be a YouTuber. I looked up to like Call of Duty YouTubers, people that made a living off of their ad revenue. And now, uh, yeah, that looks fun, and I do want that to be a part of like my life. I want to create content that a lot of people like, but I don't want that to be my main thing. I want it to be a side thing. Not to say I won't put a ton of effort into it, but I do it more for providing um, just a good time for people that watch than I do for money because I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. For me, if I know what I have to talk about, if there's a certain thing I'm talking about, or like a certain event or something, it's easy because especially if I know what I'm talking about, I can explain. But if I'm just like trying to entertain people with my own presence and there's not a subject matter, I understand that gets kind of awkward if there's no one else there. Yeah, yeah. Uh, that's why like I comment I value comments more than I do likes, views, or shares really. Not because I think they're gonna get me more successful than those, but because my goal is to entertain people and to make people a little bit more happy. And if I can hear that, if I can see them um, mention that the video made some sort of minor impact in their day, that is a lot more fulfilling to me than seeing the likes count go up or the view count go up. Uh, that's why I always ask people to comment first and foremost if they enjoy our content. I mean, I don't know. Some people have to rely on their success because they don't have any other job and they basically just rely on YouTube ad revenue. And I think people don't really like that. I don't think the optics are good. If you have to skip through 2 minutes of self promotion on your own video to get to the actual content of the video, no one likes that. Everyone just comments the timestamp that they can get to skip past that. I don't think it's effective. I don't think it is good for their business. But to be fair, I don't really know what I'm talking about when in terms of like um, getting big on YouTube. Yeah, yeah. Here, your audio kind of got a little bit weird. I don't know if something changed. No, it was like I don't know. I feel like the whatever microphone it's like far away. It sounds like now. All right, it's whatever. I can still hear you. All right. It's just a little different. Anyway. Yeah, I think I think it's better. I mean, ideally, you want people to like you because of your content, and then wait till the end of the video, and then they'll want to click on that stuff because they know you're a quality creator, rather than just ask them to do it out of the kindness of their heart and trust that you're good without even knowing before they even see your content. I think people that do that aren't really confident in their ability to make quality content because they want people to make the commitment to like subscribe to them before they see the content and decide for themselves. But I'm not sure how. Yeah. If you, I think if you look at the successful ones, not the ones that get like tens to hundred, a couple 100,000 subscribers, those ones grind up there by ruthless self promotion, and it doesn't get. I think the really successful ones, they find a niche whether they mean to or not, and they put all their effort in the content, and then the content gets discovered, and that's what gets them up. The you never see like really successful people doing putting like 30% of their effort into self promotion. That effort would be better used putting it into your content so that once people do find out about it, they see that it's good. Because if you make like half rate content and you spend the other half of your effort trying to promote yourself, um, people are going to notice that, and people are going to like not appreciate it because people know they generally, I think, know better quality content from worse quality content. And I'm not really talking about production value. I'm talking about the effort people put in and the value the content provides. Yeah. 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 I think you can tell like I think the comment section is the most useful way to judge uh, the quality of a content because to be fair, a lot of YouTube comments are um, immeasurably retarded, but I think the majority of them, I think like the general vibe you get from a comment section will tell you more about the video. It'll tell you more about the video than certainly how many views and probably even more than how much like the like to dislike ratio because I see like tutorial videos, uh, the people that like get straight to the point, the comments are like, this guy gets it. He gets straight to the point. The likes are high, everything like that, rather than people that if you just promote yourself for 3 minutes before you start to get to the tutorial, I'll go in the comment section and I'll look for the timestamp to skip through all that because I really don't care. I literally looked up you only for this tutorial. Um, and if you got to the tutorial straight away, I would get a good experience out of it and maybe I would subscribe. Like I have done that for videos, for things I needed to figure out technologically with editing everything for DRU vlogs. The tutorials that I found that have been useful for me and the ones that don't self promote, I actually do like their videos and I do subscribe to them rather than if they self promote for minutes on end before they get to the point. I just don't really care about them. I I mean I appreciate what they do, but I just don't value their channel as much as I do the other ones. Yeah. Gaming probably. And then there's like commentary and like people that talk about the games and stuff. I don't know if you that's in one of your categories. I noticed that's a big one. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I think the best I think there's a place for all of that because I think we all go through a stage where we just want to watch high energy, um, entertaining, funny stuff edited together. I certainly did back in like Black Ops 2 days and before. I would watch all that. My brother does that for Fortnite. He's 7, by the way. So I think we all go through a stage like that, and then we grow out of it into like more um, just content that's useful or that's entertaining. That's just a little bit more calm, maybe. That's just like commentary. And a lot of times, like it's commentary. Sometimes the commentary is not even really related to the game. But I think there's a spot, there's a place for all those types of entertainment um, on the internet. Thank you. Yeah, it's yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. Unless you're going for like a world record or some shit like that, it's pretty. Yeah. I think. Go ahead. All right. Keep what you're saying in mind then. But I was gonna say that type of content. It's like a podcast. Like I listen to. Sometimes I'll. Like, I don't know if you ever heard of Drifter. Drift0R. He's a Call of Duty YouTuber I used to watch back in Black Ops 2. I haven't watched him a ton recently, but those type that like type of content where they just play games or it's just gameplay, but they're talking about things that maybe it's to do with the game. Some of it's like philosophical, some of it's like current events and all that. That's the same to me as watching a podcast because I pretty much only put that on my phone, set it aside when I'm playing a game myself. I don't even have to watch the content. I just have to listen to it. Yeah. But it is cool. It is, but then if you do want to watch it, it's a lot easier to zone out watching the gameplay while you're still paying attention uh to what they're saying. I mean, for podcasts, you can probably still do that, but generally, whenever there's a podcast going on, I'm not really looking at it that much. But I bet it is still useful sometimes. Like the Joe Rogan podcast is video on YouTube, and that's the biggest podcast there is. I'm sure people enjoy watching it. Um, I mean, I definitely have watched it without anything else, but usually I put that on while I'm playing video games. I like to provide as much content as I can. That's why I wanted to at least try the video thing with us. Um, because if you're just watching it on YouTube, you can I mean, it's a little bit more useful because you can glance down even if you're not paying attention the whole time. You can see what the facial expressions are, what people are doing, if they want to show you something, all that. But then still, the majority of the content's still audio. So I can put, by the way, check us out on SoundCloud. That's where our podcasts go up there on audio too, and of course on YouTube especially when there's video to do with it. It's I like to bring the multimedia experience as much as I can, uh, just to make it a more well-rounded sort of content. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to just have a cop-out answer and say that I enjoy both, which I do, but I think it depends what I'm playing. If it's like Minecraft, I'll generally just want to talk. I'll just it's mostly chill, and we can just talk about whatever. If it's Call of Duty or something, yeah, it's still fun to play while you're just talking about other stuff. But if you're trying to win, I think that's something like you get more of a rush out of that when you're like killing everyone, wrecking people. Uh, so if that's the mood you're in, that's what you want to do. If you're just in a chill mood, relax after work or something, after school or whatever, uh, there's always ways you can. I mean, I enjoy it either way. If I just like am about to go to bed, I'm probably not gonna be like Adderalled out, freaking pro gamer mode. I'll probably just be like, I don't know. Yeah, hopefully I explained that well. Yeah, it's the flow state. You're you're flowing. You know what to do without even thinking about it. If you're paying too much attention on every single move, you're bound to mess up sometime. I think for me, it depends. If I have friends that I already have on, uh, like you, Braden, Harley, my other friends that I play with, not many, uh, and obviously depends what game, I'll be talking to them, and a lot of times, I'd say like 75% of the time is chill mode, and then if I get pissed off or something, or if I or if we just want to wreck. Like me and Braden, when we're playing Call of Duty, we're always trying um, to win. We're not like super try hard. We, I mean, he's definitely like that. He's driven to be good at that. You can tell if you see his clips on Twitter. Follow him at Savs220. I'll link all links that I mentioned in the description. But he's good and he's new to PlayStation, so the fact that he's like probably on my level already is pretty impressive. He's been playing COD Mobile a while, but that attitude I can understand. But it's always, I mean, we do have a lot of fun. Like we don't really play the objective all the time. We play Plunder a lot on Warzone, and a lot of times we get like $200,000, but we get like 10 kills, and that's mostly what we focus on a lot of times. Just having fun killing people. But then if we get a good teammate like that has a mic, a lot of times we'll do ridiculously well. We had a teammate that wasn't like spectacular, but what, I feel like if there's a, I don't know if I'm rambling, going off on too many tangents, but I feel like if there's a teammate that has a mic and I'm talking to him in game chat, then the only thing we're all involved in is the game. So we're all focused on the game, and we all do really good. Rather than if it's just me and Braden, we can just, or me and you even, we can just like mess around and still be happy not doing successfully that well on the game. But if there's another teammate, we do so good. Um, we got like $2 million on Plunder on like 2 or 3 different occasions with a teammate because all we're doing is talk about the game. I feel like it depends though, because there's some teammates. If the teammate's not talking to us, it's not really that way. If it's just us two, it's really not that way either. It's uh, it's a weird dynamic you have to get. Yeah, you feel like you owe it to them. Yeah, that's why like everything, uh, like the majority of motivation comes from other people. If you see other people working hard, whether it's a sport, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's playing video games, if you see them working hard, you feel like you owe it to them to give them to match the amount of effort they're putting in to be successful. And a lot of times that works. That's why good teams are good because they respect each other and they feel like they owe it to each other to be as good as they can. Yeah, yeah. It's Yeah, I'm especially that way in GTA. I'm not a tryhard in GTA, but I do just mess around, and a lot of times I'm not even thinking about what I'm doing. I'm just wrecking people, sniping people from rooftops is fun as hell in any game. Battlefield, Call of Duty, uh, and GTA. But anyway, yeah, I agree. I feel like your idea sounds really good. I just think it'd probably be more feasible if it's like 2 hours rather than six, like technologically. Then you can like have it in a video file without just crashing everything. I don't think I could record 6 to 8 hours. I mean, if it's a stream, yeah, but then you'd have to edit through it. That'd be kind of difficult. I bet it would. Yeah, I don't know. I have sympathy for both sides because the people that do want to win, they're kind of they have to be in the same lobby as the people that are chill, and a lot of times they luck out and they get people like us that a lot of time not that we're trash, but that we're not going. Yeah, yeah. We don't have the Kobe, Michael Jordan mindset of just like absolute dedication, like complete. Nothing. There's nothing that matters besides winning. Um, I'm sure some people are like that, and the thing is, I don't know. I don't know. I think there's merit to both attitudes. I don't care. uh, yeah, I don't know. I think as far as gameplay goes, teamwork is more important. Especially, I've been playing Warzone. Having being by and interacting with your team is way more does way more in ensuring that you're going to be successful than individual skill uh, or anything like that. Which just an observation. Yeah, definitely. Shit, did he cut out again? Better not be me. I'm gonna be pissed. Damn it! It does this all the time. Pisses me off. Oh wait, you there? Oh sorry, my Wi-Fi it did for a second. Luckily, just a second. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I think there's different depends what game. If you're playing like normal Call of Duty multiplayer, you can if you're good enough, you can wreck the entire enemy team and carry the team on your back. In Warzone, in I'm sure like in Siege and in Battlefield, you have to work together to be successful. Yeah. I can't even go on and kill like a team of 3 or 2 if they're in different directions, obviously. Especially in Warzone, it takes so long to kill someone. You have to aim at one, brrr, you're dead if there's anyone else around. It's it's frustrating. Yeah, because everyone contributes like equally rather than everyone one guy having to do it all. Yeah, and who has like a role like they're like in sports there's everyone has a position, and if they don't play their position, if anyone everyone's the same position but they're really good at it, they're going to lose to a team that has a bunch of just above average people that know their own role. But if you like in Call of Duty or whatever game you're playing, I don't know, you got some sort of medic, they're going to be needed to be good at what they do. You got snipers, you got rush people, you got support, all that people, all those types of people need to be competent at what they do. And if they all work together, they're going to have more success than just one jack of all trades or one jack of one trade who's gung ho. Specialized, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's probably better um, to have like five people that know all four different classes or whatever than it does to have um, like two people that are specialized in the same thing, and then there's like a gap where one's not really good at it, even if they're really specialized in those certain things. It needs to be collected. I don't know. Not really. Yeah, yeah. That's like how like Dennis Rodman was for the Bulls. You'd see him score no points, but without him, they probably would have lost because of how many rebounds and assists and stuff people like that get. If a team has role players for all the different roles, that's better than if a team's just star-studded with a bunch of scorers in basketball, and I say it probably in definitely in gaming too. Because if you're just really good at going in, killing people one on one or one on five, that's gonna be useful. But if you don't know how to cooperate to get the objective done, then you're gonna most likely lose to a team that is a little bit more organized like that. I bet that's useful. There's not like a function of that in Call of Duty, but I imagine like yeah, like in Battlefield. Yeah, that's useful. I mean, that's probably be like me and like Braden play a lot. We'd probably benefit from complementing each other's loadouts rather than like usually we both have like an AR slash SMG and then like a sniper, and then we both he usually has C4s, I usually have claymores, but basically we're both balanced. Whereas I think we'd probably have more success if one of us specialized in the close range type stuff and one of us was more long range. Of course. Yeah, that's that's the best thing. First of all, part of that is ego. Everyone wants to get the most kills. People like you and me, I feel like, don't care about our stats as much as we care about. I mean, they're cool to have them higher than not, but if you can contribute to a win by just marking people out and providing support, sniping, suppressive fire, all that, that's still fulfilling to people like us. And I think that the like tiers of success, like if you're gonna go breach a building and there's a team in there, obviously if it's just you, uh, you're not gonna have much success. If it's you and a friend, both going in, you'll have a little bit more, obviously. But I feel like if there's you and then you have someone supporting you, especially if it's out in the open, they're getting shot from multiple different directions and they can't defend against both of them. You're gonna have more success when there's two different areas of attack coming after you, um, after your enemy, than you are if you're both just going Rambo mode. Which even if that someone has to win, so if the skill is relatively equal, it's gonna be a 50-50 chance. But if you have the tactical advantage, you have a much better advantage than just a size advantage or a stuff like that. Yeah. Yep. I think so. Uh, yeah. There's different classes, there's different styles for a reason, and they all have their benefit, and it's best if they all are utilized um, for your advantage. Yep. If your goal is success and winning, that's the number one thing you got to focus on. If it's not, hey, do whatever the hell you want. But if it is, then I think you can learn from the people that are the most successful. And that doesn't just go for gaming, that goes for sports and anything else. Yeah. Yeah. for everything. Um, the particular work I did over the summer when I did have a job, I feel like it's a little bit hard to motivate people that don't want to do it. For those that don't know, I like detasseled and was a crew boss and led a bunch of like up to 12 or 13 different kids, 13 to like my age, and you gotta keep them in line. You gotta make sure they're doing what they're supposed to, but you also like you don't want to be a tyrant, not just because it's mean, but also because they're not gonna want to do as much. Like if you tell them why you're doing what you're doing, if you tell them when they're gonna probably be able to get done, when they're gonna have their break, they'll get after it. No. Yeah. Having having been on both sides, being just one of the low level detasselers that are just ordered around to being a crew boss of that amount of people, I got like I know the perspective of both. Obviously, if you're just a worker, uh, you aren't really invested in your success any more than just getting by enough so that you can get paid and go home. Um, and that changes a bit if you have a good boss, a good leader. You'll want to do good to make them look good, make them. You'll just want to do good just for its own sake. And obviously, as a leader, a crew boss, I know you want you want the kids to have uh, as non-miserable an experience as you can, because sometimes the conditions are you just can't help that the conditions are unpleasant, but you got to get the job done, and in order to do that, people have to do things that aren't pleasant. Um, so you have to. There's always a balance, like, and I always like knowing a lot of information, knowing like how many more rounds you think we're gonna do, how many. I don't know. Do you know what field we're going to today or something like that? And I always try to tell my crew like stuff that I think they need to know. But then there's also a point like if they're asking way too many questions, like I mean it becomes apparent like when they're asking questions that are just they don't need to be answered because they're just yeah. How much it's like do like what grade am I getting right now? Just don't worry about it. Do good. If you're doing good, if you're not for people that don't know, there's a grading system um, for the kids that like are under my supervision, and it's A to F. And generally, the way I did it, if you're doing your job and you don't suck and you're not being obnoxious, you generally get an A. You get a B if you are a good person, but despite like decent efforts at coaching you, you aren't able to see the crops that well. You aren't able to perform that well, but you're still doing good enough that you're not just a nuisance. You get a C if you're really bad, or if you're like a little bit defiant and you aren't really um, trying to listen that well. You get a D if you're basically just worse than that, um, and you're just that you just won't listen. You won't uh, like you have to be constantly reminded about the crops. You have to stop the machine, everything. Rarely, I don't know if I don't think I ever gave an F. An F is for like you're just being destructive or you're being harmful to the other people or to the job in general. I don't know if I ever gave an F, but I've given like a handful of D's before. And then like it's people ask like people want to ask about their grade. I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like I'm not just gonna tell you what grade you're getting. First of all, you're not supposed to. Second of all, uh, you just need to aim for the A. Uh, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, yeah. There's been there've been like I don't know. I could probably count on one hand the amount of people that are there. They're vindictive, sort of, if that's the right word. You always got to glance at them because they're just trying to mess with you. They're just not doing their. I mean, they'll do their job if you tell them and you're looking right at them. But if you're looking away, they don't have any integrity. They're not really concerned about performing well or being good. And those are the people I give low grades to. But yeah, I think as far as like turning a gate when you're trying to do a round and you need people on to stay on the end, you can pretty much tell the ones that are honest and good. And you always put the quality people on the ends so that the people that need more work are in the middle. That way, because when you're following around, you'll you'll see them, you'll see their rows more easily. So then you can just help them out or tell them, point them out. So then you don't even really have to worry. I've had some really good people that have been on my crews that I don't have to worry about what they do. I know they're going to do a good job, and I know they're going to like be honest and have integrity. So I basically don't even have to check on their rows. Whereas other people I have to keep up due to lack of skill or lack of discipline. I don't really care. I'm not gonna go through this whole video, just edit out one word. I think if people were really interested in stalking us and figuring out our general location, they probably would have been able to do it by now. So I don't really care about that particular one. As long as it's not a personal name drop, I don't care. I don't really care. Yeah, I was like that. Yeah. Did you do it 1 year or? Let's see. There's people. I mean, yeah, you have to evaluate whether the responsibility is equivalently worth it to you, like as the if the money is worth it enough to you to warrant the amount of responsibility you're going to get. It's a lot more stressful if you have to worry about everyone in your crew is your own personal responsibility rather than if you're lower, you only really have to take responsibility for your own work. Um, but you make more money. I always wanted to make the most money, but yeah, yeah, you have to have for introverts like us that really aren't. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you might be a little bit more social than me in certain circumstances, but I really wasn't comfortable being a crew boss at first. I just did it because if I just make the commitment that I'm gonna do it, then I can't really chicken out of it. I have to get good at it. I have to be competent. So I basically for me it was a matter of like first of all, of course I wanted more money. I probably wouldn't have done it if I didn't want more money, but it was also you're gonna need leadership at some level, no matter what you do in life. Uh, and I thought pushing myself to acquire some of those skills, I think it was worth it. It wasn't. It's a lot more. It's a decent amount more stressful. But then when you realize, like, I don't know, a lot of times, I also learned like you don't have to micromanage as much. You generally coach people good, and they'll generally do good. And if there's some bad apples, you pay more attention to them. But then also like as far yeah, there was a particular there's certain buses. I mean, there's different buses from different towns for our particular line of work that they sent kids in from, and there are some buses that were a lot more difficult to work with than others. And it also didn't help that those were the buses that I wasn't from. So it was usually best getting bus that I'm from because I knew all the people from the previous year and I knew the people anyway, rather than getting people I didn't know. Plus, those people also happen to be more uh, mischievous to get a handle on. That's how that's how I was when I was a grunt. I was very I didn't talk at all pretty much. I did what I was told. Um and I tried to work hard so that people would like if they asked about me, if like their higher ups were like asking about individual people, they'd put in a good word for me. I always think like uh, that's one of the reasons you work hard, not just because you get more done and you're better and more successful, but um, you rank up higher. Yeah, and I think for me, the opportunity came when I had good grades from everyone. Everyone had good things to say about me as a worker, and then the boss um, like asked me if I wanted to go to the plant and detail and wash cars and tractors and all that, which was my favorite part of the whole summer. That was my favorite job to do. I didn't make as much as a crew boss, but the hours were longer. They were guaranteed, and they were every day, and it was easy because I know it was fun. I love washing, detailing cars and stuff. I kind of want to start doing that just now. Anyway, I see one of my old friends from where I used to live is really good at that. He's doing top quality um, uh, detailing, and it's kind of inspired me. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna do it, but that's a skill that I have because I did that over the summer. But I did enjoy that more than anything. But then from there, I did that before I became a crew boss. My first crew boss job was it did not put a good taste in my mouth because it was the longest field that the company owned. It was already this tall, and I think it's yeah, I forgot exactly the acronym, but it was like a mile long. I had the worst crew in the system. Um, uh, I not to like talk trash, just like they were the least easy to control, especially for a guy with no leadership experience, extremely introverted, and with no experience as a particularly as a crew boss. So I had to keep them. My main problem was keeping them together. I had one guy that was very obsessive. He'd look at every single individual plant, and yeah, there's that. You have to keep a balance because you have to keep going, but you also have to get pretty much all the plants. So this guy, I had to keep reminding him to go up, but then the other people would just zoom past, and I couldn't see any of them. I couldn't see the row pat beside me because the corn was this tall. Um, yeah, it was that was a bad experience, but I got through. I was just stressing out like trying to keep them together. They wanted me to keep everyone within like 10 yards, and it was not possible. I had to scream Marco Polo to even. I got that idea like halfway through the season. Play Marco Polo when you can't see each other because otherwise they're just gonna zoom it and it's not gonna be useful. Yeah. It's also useful when they have irrigator tracks because depending on how long the thing is, you can say stop at every other track, stop at every track, and if there's a lot of them, that's really useful. If there's some of them, there's like none, so that's not gonna help. And plus, they're at a weird angle so that not everyone would run into it. So you have to basically keep them in line. The easiest, yeah, Yeah. Yeah. Give me a second. I gotta plug my laptop in. All right, we're good. Yeah. One thing I was gonna say. All right. I'll just say one more thing about our work, and then our previous work, and then we can move on and pretty much close it. I was gonna say the easiest and best um, field job for that was short corn walking roguing, because short corn you can see everyone, you can keep them in line. Roguing is easy because you can pretty much see everyone's rogue from every row, rather than tassels, which you have to be kind of close. And when you're walking, you get paid like 50 cents more an hour than when you're on a machine. So I thought that was, besides detailing, that was my favorite thing to do. Especially if you don't have like ear protection, because it's so loud. I mean, you can, but you have to. The boss just has to be like vigilant, because if you miss something obvious, you don't want to have to go back ever. But you want to be able to at least stop. Like sometimes I'll see something coming, I'll watch, and then if I notice that the person whose row it's in isn't doesn't notice it, I'll stop and point it. Like, yeah, yeah, and they're like, oh, okay. Or they'll be like, no, I'm just kidding. Most people aren't just like ass clowns. Most people are. Pretty much everyone's listened to me besides a couple. That would suck. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's a tough skill because you have to balance uh, discipline and authority, and not being a tyrant. You have to balance pace with effectiveness and thoroughness. You have to balance all these things in a really good way. And given the fact that most of the time you have no previous experience with anything like that, and you're like the same age as the people you're ordering around, you're like 1 year older than they are. It's all right. So uh, since we've been saving our self promotion till the end, I'll just say subscribe to DRU Vlogs, the DRU Podcast on SoundCloud, DRU Gaming, Adam21X on YouTube and Twitch. I've got my own channels. I'll link everything you need to know in the description. Please comment and share and like if any of those things seem warranted to you. I hope this conversation has been good. I hope I can get this video uploaded quick enough, considering it's probably like 2 hours. Uh, really? Last time I let me check. My OBS says it's 2 hours and 14 minutes. Oh well, it'll be long no matter what. Anyway, uh, yeah. Hopefully next time we can get more people, but we were the dedicated ones, and yeah, yeah. I definitely will too. Uh, Stay tuned for next episodes of DRU Podcast, DRU Vlogs, and any sort of skits we got. And of course, gaming. We're going to be on that. I might even be streaming tonight. You never know. Perfect. All right, well, peace out. I'll stop this recording now.